Racing on Monday takes place out at the Big T, where we've got 9 races on the program, and race number 1 is set to get underway at 12:10. Joining me on the line is Alistair Cohen. Alistair, how are you doing? And secondly, it feels a bit weird to say that we've got racing on a Monday after what has been a drought for a number of weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. Hello, Raheel. Hello to all the viewers. Rare Monday, the Big T. You do get those on public holidays, but this is not a public holiday. Obviously, the reason being to try and avoid having double headers, to obviously allow jockeys to travel a bit more freely, to get all eyes, all attention, and all money sort of flowing in one direction rather than two. And with the Langerman this weekend, that took centre stage at Hollywoodbets Kenilworth. So, yeah, Turffontein gets a chance on Monday. Not a bad card. There are a few races where I think you need to cast your net quite wide, but it is going to be quiet from a racing front for the next 12 days, obviously, because so many horses are nominated on Hollywoodbets Durbanville. There's so many good horses, obviously, through the feature races, especially the Hollywoodbets Durbanville, the baby races, and perhaps most excitingly, the Richmond Garden Province. So, in terms of quality, not bad, considering we're going to be looking at some fairly below par fares from around the country for the next couple of weeks leading up to Africa's greatest horse race. But I must be honest, I don't mind this card. It's certainly a lot easier than Thursday. Thursday, I don't think you'll see again in a hurry.
Yep, Thursday was certainly a nightmare card at the Val, and if you were a winner, well done to you, because you've done extremely well there. Race number 1, as I mentioned, 12:10. It is a work riders race for fillies and mares, set to be run over 1,000 meters, and Desert Cloud tops the boards here at 16-10. Anati Feni takes a ride. Number 2, Miss Monroe, Chamo Mobaya aboard of Paul Matchett at 22-10. Number 4, Misty Metal is at 3-1. It's then 6-1 and a better ball those. Now, when it comes to the form in this race, Alistair, Desert Cloud last time out reported stubborn and not striding out, and then you've got Miss Monroe who returns off a very lengthy layoff. If all is good with Desert Cloud, you'd expect her to be able to get the job done in a race of this nature, because it's certainly not a strong race at all.
Raheel. Look, Desert Cloud's better than her last run. That was when she cast the shoe on the way down to the start, and the farrier couldn't get the shoe back on. So never mind the stubborn and not striding out angle with Desert Cloud. Plus it was over 1,200 meters. She's back to 1,000. So she's a lot better than her last run behind Desire. But very nervous about her, I must be honest. Her work remains good. Certainly better than a maiden, but beaten 5-10, beaten 12-10, favourite in the past against some fairly weak fields as well. I'd like to believe she can win, but I can't tell punters to have a bet on the nose on Desert Cloud. And Artifeni is Mike and Matthew de Kock's main work rider. He's obviously based at Hollywoodbets, so he has been around to sit on Desert Cloud. He liked what he felt, but anyone would like what they feel with Desert Cloud in the morning. It's just a matter of whether she can bring it to the racetrack. It's probably her best chance to get the job done. So I'd like to believe that she'll run into the top 2 at worst, but 16-10 is a skinny price for a filly that's let the team down before. Hope she can bring her work to the races. 2 dangers for me. Number 2, Miss Monroe, back from over 300 days off the track. If she doesn't need the run too badly, she's got to be a danger. Chamo Mabaya's on board for Paul Matchett, but sadly the last form line is as dead as anything, and Perini Palace hasn't ripped up any trees in the year since she won. Misty Metal is the horse that I'm going to make the biggest danger to number 1, Desert Cloud. Although well beaten last time behind Summer Windsor, Candace had a horse called Hawksdale, who's really not bad, finished just in front of Misty Metal, and Misty Metal looked to be bridging that gap late, so she'll have a chance, number 4, Misty Metal. I'd like to believe the outside draw for Desert Cloud is going to serve her well. In order of preference, 1, 4 and 2 in the open up at Turffontein on a Monday. Obviously the scratching number 9, Hotaru, potentially makes the race a little bit more straightforward. She was exiting the maidens during the week.
Moving along to race number 2, which will be the start of the bipot. 12:45 is the off time. Maiden Juvenile Plate, 1,000 meters the distance, and your favorite is number 7, Trajanus, trading at 2-1. Number 9, Alpine Jet, is a 5-2 shot. Number 1, Bingo, at 3-1. It's then 5-1 and a better ball those. Now, this 2-year-old son of Denon Platina put up a very nice run on debut at Hollywoodbets Scottsville, and then was set to run about 2 weeks ago when he unseated Craig Zaki as the stall gates opened. Alistair, if all things go well with this horse and he behaves, he probably is the one that you could lean towards here, and at 2-1 he could deliver the goods.
I think it's a hot maiden, Raheel. I wouldn't be comfortable with a banker in the first leg of the bar pot, although he's got a winning chance, Trayanis. You spot on the scrubs have somehow missed the fact that Trayanis was declared a non-runner after dropping Craig Zaki coming out of the stalls just a few weeks back at Turffontein. Craig just wasn't in the irons with a horse that was misbehaving in the stalls. I thought the debut at Hollywoodbets Scottsville behind Little Boy Blue was a good effort, and he strikes as a winner in waiting. But funny enough, I think the form line from Constellation we're going to see, I'm sure, is going to be franked later on in the day with a horse that's hard to beat. So therefore, number 8, Umzingeli Wenyati must have a good chance as well. There are a whole lot of closers on that occasion. Horse who ran second, Anchorage, has run second again behind a horse who looks like she's got feature race potential. So I'll give number 8, Umzingeli Wenyati, a very good chance as well of giving Trayana something to think about in the opening leg of the bipod. And then there's number 1, Bingo, who also put up his career best last time behind Gimme For Sure, who's trained by Mike and Matthew de Kock. Laid down a big challenge going through the final 200 metres, and probably the class of Gimme For Sure carried him across the line. But also bear in mind, Bingo's got feature race form on a soft track and ran 5 lengths behind Charming Cheetah, who went oh so close to winning a grade 1 a month ago. So I'm not ruling out his chances. And then from a first-timer perspective, 2 Cody's markers from a prolific family, but they all need further. So I'm not motivating that he can win over 1,000 metres on debut, but the first timer that most certainly can is the supporter number 9, Alpine Jet. She was a ripper at the sales from Lummerskraal. The Verners family went to 1.2 million rand to get the store traverse and Getrix. Many viewers know, and as you know, I do generally get a comment out of the camp. I don't have a comment about number 9, Alpine Jet, but early betting moves do suggest that maybe a nice run is expected from this first timer. So I think this is a very hot maiden. The bar pot is not my suggested bet. The place accumulator is, but in the first leg of the bar pot, I think you need 3 horses just to be safe here, 7, 8 and 9, because I do believe later on in the card there's an opportunity to go quite light. So yeah, be wary in the first leg of the bar pot. I think there's some nice little babies running around here.
Yeah, form line to keep an eye on going forward. Race number 2. Race number 3, next up, start off the place accumulator. This is a maiden juvenile plate for the fillies over the 1,000 meter trip. 20 past 1 is the off time. And number 4 is your favorite, trading at 13 to 10. Number 10 is a 22 to 10 shot. It's then 8 to 1 and better ball those. Start off the place accumulator. What's the play in leg number 1?
Unless one of the first timers come in for support here, Raheel, 3 Emily's Piece, you'll need a bit further. 7 Laugh and Letters, and 8 Once in a Blue Moon, probably most crucially, although she's also out of a mare that went all day. I think pretty happy to hold this race to 2 horses, with number 4 Jazz Pianist being my top selection here. Robbie Sage and Gavin Larena team up. The debut run behind Mystical Miss I thought was meritorious. Didn't throw in the towel, stuck around and made up a little bit of ground over the closing stages. Beaten 3 1/4 lengths behind Mystical Miss. Perhaps a little bit underwhelming second start was number 4 Jazz Pianist, but also not disgraced behind Limerick Lace. I'd like to see a little bit more from that form line before I'm willing to rubber stamp it, but Limerick Lace is still worth a few more chances after going missing at Turffontein out of the maiden run. Gavin Larena now takes over for Robbie Sage. That would not be an accident. So I think number 4 Jazz Pianist has nailed on top 3 credentials at absolute worst. If she doesn't win, then obviously number 10 Snow Queen makes up a fair backup here. There was talk about her on debut when she found support in the market, but raised no gallop behind One Fine Winter. But One Fine Winter is one of the leading 2-year-old fillies from Sean Terry's yard that we've seen so far this season. I'm sure there are a few more waiting in the wings. I thought his second start, she was a little bit unlucky as well. She hung across the track. There was a lot of bumping and boring, and with Versace on the track coming out and franking her own form, there's still something to work with number 10 Snow Queen. Samanga Kamalo takes her out for the first time for the Aussies, and I think just reading between the lines, they have high hopes for Snow Queen. To what level, I don't know, but I think they believe that she's got certainly credentials to get out the maidens and potentially go through the division. So absolute boat race for me. In the bipod, if you want to go both horses, you can. In the place accumulator, I'm prepared to bank one or the other. I've come down on the side of number 4 Jazz Pianist on this occasion, but if Snow Queen turned her over, I would not be surprised at all. I don't think there's much depth as far as the other race runners are concerned, and I'm pretty comfortable to move on from here.
Yep, boxed exact is perhaps the play in race number 3 with numbers 4 and 10. Race number 4 next up, start off the pick 6. This is a juvenile plate, maiden juvenile plate over the 1400 meter trip. 13:55 is the off time. And Golden Operator is deep in the red here, trading at 25 to 100. Number 8, Trip to Peace at 6 to 1. It is then 10 to 1 and better bar those. Now, when it comes to the form, nothing really stands out from most of the form runners, barring number 3, Golden Operator. Alistair, this son of Declaration of Peace, we worked that day at Hollywoodbets Greyville when things went wrong for both Craig Zaki and Tristan Godden past the line, and this horse was all at sea. He was terribly green and just dumb on debut, but he would have learned plenty from that experience, and yeah, he's deep in the red at 1 to 4, start off the pick 6. Banker?
Yeah, Raheel. If this doesn't arrive, I know he's 1 to 4, and you're asking for trouble putting him into all to comes because you're looking to buy money for all the wrong reasons. But the absolute lack of depth of the opposition, the way that he ran on debut, how unlucky he was awfully green. He ducked the shadow. Craig Zaki was catapulted. Craig had to spend a week on the sidelines as a result. I like what I saw. He's a lovely athletic son of Declaration of Peace. He moved in a winner. He was his own worst enemy. Subsequently, Soldier Boy has changed hands, changed ownership for good money. So people must have seen quite a lot of promise from Soldier Boy on that occasion, despite the fact that he might have ridden his luck to victory. There's just no opposition here. I mean, when you're motivating horses that have been beaten nearly double figures by Zalatoris, who's a very nice horse, and Wings of Ice, there's dangers in the form of number 5, On an Impulse, who's got a bit of a dicey draw, and potentially number 7, Thomas Shelby, who's yet to earn a stake check. I mean, but for the first timers, who will have to be good, to be fair, to beat number 3, Golden Operator, Raheel, this looks very, very, very hard to beat. I don't see him getting beaten, like I said, prohibitive odds. Not my style to include him into all to comes, but I think he'll win. I think he'll take all the beating, and barring doing something crazy again, I don't see him getting turned over. I mean, it would take an absolute freak show yet again for number 3, Golden Operator, to get beaten here. So hard to beat. Probably one of the better bets of the week, to be fair.
Yeah, Golden Operator all in race number 4. Race number 5 next up, maiden juvenile plate for fillies over 1400 meters, and this contest, just having a look at the market, number 2 Japanese Garden and number 4 Mamlambo, both joint favorites at 22 to 10. Number 8 Stampede Ahead at 28 to 10. It's then 7 to 1 and better bar those. Now this filly Japanese Garden on a quick backup just 8 days after she was rolled at 9 to 10 in the market in what was a very weak maiden, beaten convincingly that day. And then you've got this horse from the Heather Adamson yard who produced a very, very good effort on debut when beaten into second behind Fair Proposal, and there was outside support for this filly from 25 to 1 into 10s, and with that run under the belt, she would have learnt a lot. The step up in trip, you think, would suit her. It's just the draw that she's got to contend with.
Yeah, I don't think the draw's too much of a worry here, Raheel. Judging by how she ran first up, she was dropped in over 11.60 and asked to make up ground, and I'm sure she'll be asked to drop in yet again. She will need a pace to aim at, and I don't see too much of that, to be fair, but I'm sure Margot van Rensburg will jump her out quietly and let her naturally make up ground, exactly what she did on debut behind Fair Proposal, which I don't think is a glowing form line, but if you just watch how Mamlambo hit the line last time out, I mean, she just screams a horse that's going to come on with the run under the belt. She ran exactly how you want a first timer to run on debut. If they're not going to win, hit the line with a lot in hand, do things organically, naturally, and without being asked too much. Raymond Danielson, I thought, gave her a lovely introduction first up, just sort of letting her extend under her own steam. So back to Turffontein, which is not her home track. Obviously the Voiles with Heather Adamson being based there. And I also want to give mention to Heather. She's in unbelievably good form at the moment. What she's done with an average filly in the form of Cartagena is admirable indeed, to get her to win a hat-trick and to get better and stronger and more impressive as it goes on. So kudos to Heather for the form that her yard is in. Yeah, Mamlambo I think could be above the curve, but I have respect for number 2 Japanese Garden. I must confess I'm surprised at the market and the fact that they joint favourites, considering that Mamlambo probably has more improvement to come. Japanese Garden's worth another chance for me, Raheel. She was just not at the races last time. They nagged at her the whole time. She wasn't left alone. She hit a tongue tie on for the first time. I'm pretty sure that's on Gavin's recommendation. Do I trust Japanese Garden, a more exposed 2-year-old than number 4 Mam Lambo? No, but I'm just willing to give her another chance because of the 2 runs in between to Desire, a massive field, and back from more, and even the debut to Jingleberry. They're good enough runs to suggest that she's good enough to win a maiden sometime soon. Gavin sticks with her when I'm sure he would have had a number of choices in the race. And the place accumulator, I'm happy with just the 2 horses. The first time was interesting. Number 8 Stampede Ahead. The mare was a stakes winner over 1400 meters for the Aussies at Turffontein. Stan Furman when Grand Fanica won the Starling Stakes on her. She's probably looking for a trip being by Futura, but she won't have to be any great shakes out of gate 1 to release Threaten on debut. So, but you don't need her in the pick 6, obviously, because of the first timer rule. Number 6 One Summer, I think, is going to improve here to at least run into the top 4, maybe even better. Stuart Pettigrew's yard's been quiet, but it's a matter of time before a yard of that quality comes bouncing back. So I'm going to make a case for her at least getting into the mix, certainly into the money, but it is hard to see her turning that form around with Mum Lumbo, especially with 5 lengths to turn around. So 2 and 4 the numbers that I'm going to work around with. But past the post, might be a few horses here that give them something to think about.
Moving on to race number 6 next up. This is a middle stakes set to be run over 2,000 meters. 3:05 is the off time. It is a start of Jackpot 2. And your favorite, weak favorite, is number 8 Player at 4-1. Number 3 King's Express is a 5-1 shot. Number 10 Vesuvio 11-2. Silent War at 6-1, along with number 6 Lamuhal. It's 8-1 about Hawkbull, Jordan, Star Coin 16-1, and Better Ball. Those, Alistair, a few of your favorite horses are in contention. Yeah, the likes of Jordan and Star Coin taking on one another. What's your thoughts here?
This is the hardest race on the card, Raheel. If you don't have field, considering some of the other races look a bit more straightforward, then you're going to feel a little bit uncomfortable. This is what I can tell you about Player. Candace has been telling me for well over a month that he's in a great space and his work is very good. How is he going to go over 2,000 meters? That's going to be the big question. He runs like he'll get the trip. He's been consistent of late, but 2,000 meters remains a question mark. He is a player, especially, well, excuse the pun, draw 1, tread maybe takes a ride. He's been to work, the son of Toreador. He's going to have a chance, but he's by no means past the post. And another reason why he's by no means past the post, Chase Morjan was up at the run and he's gone to number 11 Jordan. So let that just go into the back of your mind. Although Jordan was beaten last time by Khan Hutiku, Chase guided him to victory at his penultimate start when beating Benching Fly. He knows both horses and he's gone with number 11 Jordan. So hence I've got Jordan in my place accumulator as well. Those are 2 of the 4 horses in my play, and then I've got 6 and 10 in there as well. I want to talk about number 6 Lamu Hull. I think this is the value of the race. For purely selfish purposes, I'm disappointed that Gavin Lorena's found Lamu Hull on the same day because I was hoping to get a little bit of value. I thought he was outgunned last time in the Jubilee Stakes, where he still wasn't necessarily disgraced. I thought his run to Claude, his penultimate start, puts him into the picture. If you consider that Jordan has beaten Claw in the past, and if you do indirect mathematics, which doesn't necessarily give you 2 + 2 = 4, it can give you all sorts of results. But this was won the Sea Cottage last year, beating Greeting My Master, and he trials 2,000 meters for the first time in his career. I think an experiment worth trying, considering his running style and how he can hit the line. I think he's going to turn the form around with King's Express. I think King's Express is very much in the race. His vulnerabilities over 2,000 meters and on the back of a big penalty for convincingly beating Mount Darwin last time. I think he's got a few questions to answer, although I'd put him into the pick 6 because it would be silly to ignore a horse looking for a hat-trick and in the form that he's in. I think that Lambu Hull, if you go back far enough, is likely to turn that form around with King's Express from, when was that, from March earlier this year. In fact, no, before that, from February earlier this year when he was returning from a layoff. So there's my value of the race, number 6, Lambu Hull. And then the stable companion, number 10, Vesuvio, who won a good race last time. It was hard fought over to the rescue, but he grounded out. And dropping in distance, I'm not a fan of, but also in a line through Jordan, if you go back to the 8th of May, which is an interesting form line to check out. Vesuvio is weighted to finish in front of Jordan by virtue of an apprentice allowance, he comes in here 5 kilos better off the 3.5 lengths, so that makes him dangerous as well. So a few horses for me in the PA, 6, 8, 10 and 11. A few in here with chances. Pick 6, jackpot. Don't be afraid to throw in a few of your favourites. Star Queen, Rehill. I've washed my hands of him, and from the draw, I'm happy to watch on with him today. Cue the egg in my face.
Yeah, no space for Starcoin, but the likes of Jordan Vesuvio, and you've got Lamhal, who Alistair believes could be some nice value in race number 6. Moving along to race number 7 next up. This is an MR80 handicap over 2,000 meters. 15:40 is the off time. Favorite is number 3, Aladdin's Lamp, trading at 3-1, 6-1 about Salute the Flag. Trident King at 6-1 as well. Jewel Prophecy at 7-1. It's an 8-1 and better ball. Those Ideal Future is out. Aladdin's Lamp won a good gutsy race last time out. Unfortunately, Chabal didn't do anything for that form line, and I thought it was terribly disappointing last week, Thursday, and a race that caused a huge result. But Alistair, race 7, what's your thoughts here? Can the guys go light in the exotics?
I've got a 3 and 9 here at Hill, but that fact that you mentioned with Chabal during the week does linger in my mind. But what I am willing to say is that Aladdin's Lamp may have won sort of with a little bit in hand, a little bit easier, the half-length margin suggested. But also would start to pumpkin power and forth in the early mile behind Confederate, who somewhat touting as a chance of a Hollywoodbets Durbanville, obviously finishing in front of Legend of Arthur, but he's got a couple of problems that need to be ironed up, but he'll be back to fight another day. That form line's proving at this sort of middle level is proving to be a very good reference point for finding horses at a bit of a price, with 2 direct winners, including Aladdin's Lamp. From the draw last time, Callum Murray guided them across very nicely. Got him into a striking position, and like I said, he won a little bit easier than suggested. The handicapper wasn't fooled by giving him £5 for the win, but he'll have sort of an easier task in Barnes at finding a position. I think with that kind of level that he was producing in Cape Town, if you use history as a guide, that's always going to make a horse dangerous when coming to the high vault. So number 3, Aladdin's Lamp, was a very valuable starting point, and he is my top choice. But also out of that pumpkin path form was a much improved Trident King, who went off at 100-1. And for a while looked like he was getting into the race last time, Raheel, coming back from a fairly lengthy layoff. He's been sparingly raced of late. The old version of Trident King, if you go back far enough, was rated 90. He's down to a 78, and off at 90 he was never really disgraced, and ran some nice races behind some nice horses, and it looks like he's found a little bit of life, bit of zest for racing back with the son of Pathfork. And on collateral form, Trident King has waited to turn it around with Aladdin's Lamp. He comes in here, 5 kilos better off for 2.5 lengths. So the case to be made for number 9, Trident King, is pretty revealing. Obviously hasn't won in a long time, so need to be a little bit careful with how you sort of get stuck into number 9, Trident King. But I'm convinced that he's going to be in the top 3. David Nevenhays and trains, and Calvin Habib takes the ride. He's also untested over 2,000 meters, so that's got to stick in the back of your mind. But also remember, he's a half brother to Olivia's Way, and she has no issue over the trip. Does Olivia's Way, in fact, a full brother to Olivia's Way. So just work with all of that, and consider number 9 Trident King, kick for touch with him and put him in everywhere. Salute the Flag, also untried over this distance. Piers Graham got off him last time, said lovely run, try him over a trip, and he wants to stick with him. So here we go with number 1 Salute the Flag. Do not put a line through him, although I think Pumpkin Pie's a better horse than Salute the Flag. So if Aladdin's Lamp got to within 3 parts of a length, then that might answer that question, but don't leave them out, because we've got Straight and Magic on our side with number 1 Salute the Flag, and I'm willing to say that that's pretty much going to be where the race lies. 14 Rosie Lemon I always go with. I don't know where I stand with her. I'd include her into trifectas and quartets, but I might stop short of putting her into the pick 6. She might sneak in and make a couple of those alternative bets. Likewise, number 11, Jewel Prophecy. That was a nice run last time behind the Ultimate King, when likely to have needed the run, and he can also step forward with that run under the belt.
Yep, that is race number 7. 2 horses to play around here. And then you could possibly include number 1, Salute the Flag, as well. Race number 8 next up. It's a Fillies and Mares 87 handicap, 1,800 meters a trip. 4 is the off time, and your favorite is number 2 DeMarco's Jet, trading at 4-1. Number 4, Free in Seattle, 5-1, along with the 5-horse It's Away, and number 6, Arctic Silver. 11-2, Tried and True, 8-1, Mount Etna. It's 6-1, Mount Etna, 8-1, and Better Ball. Those LMB is out. Alistair, just having a look at this race, this filly, DeMarco's Jet, Free in Seattle, they come from that same form line last time out, so there shouldn't be a lot to choose between them. And Gavin Arena sticks with DeMarco's Jet, who could certainly be the answer in race number 8, or do you see it a lot more trickier than that?
I think DeMarco's Jet will run into the first 3 Regal, so for PA purposes, she's very much in there. But interesting, on the 15th of May when they all met, I Am Regal comes into the play on weight turnarounds. DeMarco's Jet is rather Free in Seattle's got an extra 1.5 kilos. DeMarco's Jet 1 kilo less, and just behind her, I Am Regal, who's got 2 kilos less. She hasn't won in a while, has I Am Regal. She's had a lot of racing in between and consistent racing, so it's not like we can turn around and say that she's over the hill. She's suggesting that there might be a win just around the corner, but she's a nice little inclusion as number 8, I Am Regal. Although she's not in my place accumulator, she could represent the horse that makes a few bets pay. But DeMarco's Jet's going about her business very nicely. She was given an excellent ride by Ryan Mungo at her penultimate start when looping runners at the corner of the track, making her own pace and keeping Do It With Diamonds at bay. And Do It With Diamonds for me on the inside track, I always go with her. Last time out, no disgrace behind Free in Seattle. She stuck around. She guts it out. She drops in distance now. Does number 2, DeMarco Jet, probably to a trip that she's most effective over 1,800 meters. She's hit the boards in all of her starts, and for that reason, I think she's pretty solid as far as a place accumulator suggestion is concerned. Raheel, there's a horse here who interests me. That's Lapis Lazuli, number 10. Diego de Gavea up to 53.5 to take the ride for the Aussies. He finished behind Tried and True on the 22nd of May, call it 2 lengths, and she's not necessarily waited to turn that form around. But I had a look at that rerun. I actually stumbled upon that rerun on Friday morning behind Except Cookies. Oh, if you want to know unlucky horses, this was her. And never mind watching the race where she was cramped and she was steady at a crucial stage when she was making what looked like a dangerous run. Saddle slipped as well, but she couldn't have been too easy for Muzieni to handle. She's sparingly raced. She tries this trip for the first time in her career. She's been 1,800 meters once before, where she seemed to stay on quite nicely behind Play With Fire. I think that it might be falling into place for a nice run from number 10, Lapis Lazuli. Do not ignore her. The place accumulator, my numbers are 2 and 10. In the pick 6, I'm without doubt including number 8. Probably have to put in number 4, Free in Seattle, and also number 9, Tried and True. The scratching of LMB helps alleviate it, because my eyes are going to be on her next time she runs. She was desperately unlucky on Thursday, but she's not running here on Monday, obviously.
Yep, race number 8, a bit of a tricky race over the 1,800 meter trip, a few horses that you could play around. Race number 9, final race on the day, maiden plate over the 1,000 meter trip. 16:55 is the off time, and Ready Set Fire, your favorite, at 14-10. Number 10, Safe Travel, 5-2. Bombs Last Grind at 8-1, along with Inspector James. It is then 10-1 and Better Ball. Those now, number 1, Ready Set Fire, returns off a very lengthy layoff. First run for Lucky Udalarcus, finished second behind Chocolate Soldier at his last start. And then you've got Safe Travel, who you mentioned that Constellation form line, and you mentioned a horse that could be very hard to beat. And at 5-2, this is the horse you're talking about.
This is the horse I'm talking about. I'm surprised. Look, Ready Set Fire brings some of the best 2-year-old form into the picture, but that's 2-year-old form from a year and a half ago. For 426 days. I mean, I think Lucky Udalarcus is a great trainer. I really and truly do. But if he gets Ready Set Fire back from 426 days off the track to turn over a horse, young, exuberant, on the back of a debut that Safe Travel put up, and I'll tip my hats off. Look, I'm not going to write off Ready Set Fire's chances, but what Safe Travel did on debut behind Constellation, staying on the way that he did, drawn towards the inside of the trip, obviously had a nice toe through throughout, but he hit the line with a lot in hand. He is bred for a lot further than the family all get a mile without any fuss whatsoever, but the outside draw down the straight of Turffontein with a good, valuable education under the belt, with his biggest danger back from a year and a half, and also second biggest danger back from over a year off the track. I mean, there are also that are coming back here that really are dusting off the cobwebs. Bumps Lost Ground did that the time before. I mean, there are horses here that have obviously got very low mileage, and that would have set their trainers and their connections back quite a long way. They'll have their vulnerabilities, I'll have my question marks, and have my doubts about their soundness, especially on a very hard track on the Highveld. Safe Travel for me, Banker and all bets. It's a dangerous position to be in, going with Banker in the final leg. But I think between him and Golden Operator earlier on in the card, Raheel, I think we set ourselves up quite nicely to work in between the two pieces of bread in the sandwich in the pick six and all the other various bets. I don't see Safe Travel getting beat, to be honest, in the final race of Turffontein. I make him a very hard horse to beat.
Yeah, we like that confidence. Banker in leg number 1 off the pick 6, Banker in leg number 6 off the pick 6, and it's just about finding the horses in those legs 2 to 5. We're going to move along to the suggested bet now. Alistair will take us through suggested bet, a place accumulator, which will begin with a run-in of race number 3 on Monday out at the Big T, and that is at 1:20. Alistair, take it away.
1:20 PA gets underway. Raheel, first leg, I've got Banker number 4, Jazz Pianist, but if that said Banker 10, I would not feel uncomfortable. But one or the other, Banker 4 in the first leg, by Banker 3, Golden Operator. Then gone 2 and 4, Japanese Garden and Mamlambo in race 5, which is leg 3. 6, 8, 10 and 11, so Lamu Hull, Player, Vesuvio and Jordan in race 6. That's the trickiest race on the card. By 3 and 9, Aladdin's Lamp and Tribal King. Then 2 and 10, DeMarco's Jets and Lapis Lazuli. That might be the one race that you might want to put 1 or 2 others in. And then Banker number 10, Safe Travel. Nice, affordable, hopefully affordable place accumulator that gives you a good thrill to kick off your week.
Yep, looks to be 32 Rand for a full unit in that place accumulator. Certainly a very reasonable perm. And yeah, Alistair, thanks very much. Enjoy your Sunday and have a wonderful week ahead.
Cheers, Raheel. We'll enjoy it watching Hollywoodbets Greyville with KZN Breeders, and really looking forward to the week ahead. Just in Cape Town, obviously, for a few more days leading into Tuesday's meeting. There is a threat of rain, but I can tell you Sunday morning couldn't be the more perfect day. So hopefully the forecast rain stays away, because the rain past Tuesday in Cape Town, even though we're not racing, is grim. So we need to get the show on the road on Tuesday. So hopefully that all goes according to plan, and we can continue the week unscathed.
Yeah, absolutely. All the best for racing on Monday out at Turffontein.